Okay, this is Captain Sweep with session number 2. Have you guys come up with a team name yet?
Name.
A little bit. No,
Really?
What's the team name?
no, we didn't discuss this yet.
A little bit of
At some point, maybe soon, you guys need to choose a Planetary Guardian name for your team.
Planetary Guardian name.
But before we do that, we can just have a check-in. Should we go through everybody and just have about a 2-minute check-in? Say where you're at, what's happening, how are you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's go this way. Yeah.
My name is Jorge. Just checking in.
Planetary Guardian.
It's been a very quick week. I put some, like, working on that list we got assigned last week about the 7 lifetime goals. It's been really challenging. I don't know why these tasks that I get assigned, they get so challenging, because they just make you really think and go deep into where I want to put my intentions and my goals, like where I want to put my energy, and seeing how that needs to be. There is a big power in defining that. And so yeah, it's been, even up to now, I don't think I got the 7 items, but I got like a good idea, a good list. It got narrower. And you said sinking in a little bit into what the intentions of this meeting, what we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Serena. I've been making these lists a lot throughout my whole life, just knocking dreams off and trying to narrow it down. And I was feeling like really good about doing this, that I was living and walking a lot of my life goals already. And so just deepening in them and expanding and sharing. And putting deeper focus in the ones that I haven't worked into so much. And I'm working all day with kids, so I'm just a little bit tired right now that I just sat down. And it's just all.
You haven't had time to relax at all?
Oh, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Just like, yeah, a short time.
But I hear you.
Nature, so it's super awesome already. So, yeah. Yeah, Serena checking in. There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah, and so my name is Diego, and checking my week has been quite full. I've been working in a fair amount of things, and I find a cycle for me just closing up, and I'm gonna have more time to work on what I really want to be doing. So I'm glad that change is happening, and yeah, I find it's a really good time to start setting intentions for the 7 life goals. When I hopped into it, it felt a bit daunting. I mean, to look to the big picture, because I know, well, I feel I know what's coming, but to really set a goal for it, it's like it's a daunting feeling, and to find what I want, and yeah, it feels challenging actually. It's like a big visions to think about, but I just felt, okay, I better just let the ideas move and start seeing what comes up. So that's where I'm at with the vision manifesting, and yeah, I'm just really excited to keep learning more about these systems of how we can organize ourselves, and also getting to know, like, I mean, that I already love this group, but to learn ways to relate with each other and support one another, and then find ways to use the cycles and everything. I'm just really excited about the whole topic. So I'm glad we're here.
Awesome.
Hi, Melissa checking in. After we last talked with you, I took like a couple of messages that kind of translated into my inner personal work over the last week is some of it had to do with structure, like bringing structure or discipline to all of these like chaotic things that I've been experiencing, that we've been experiencing inside of our work, our personal work and beyond. And it took 2 words from last time we talked, which was recognition and competition, and seeing how those played in my upbringing and like my current habits. And yeah, like those 2 words felt like gifts that I could have a bit of insight with those words. Yeah, and playing with energies of myself, like my purpose or like higher self, and then the lower self, like the darker self, that can be scary to come out. And inside of that, yeah, doing work inside of the family and being present inside of the family and the self. That's what the last week has looked like for me. So here I am, checked in.
Well, that's great. It's great to see you. I'm excited too. And I was wondering if to start out, we could have each of you share maybe not all, but maybe 3. Is it possible that each of you could share 3 lifetime goals?
Would you like me to go first this time? Okay, I'll go first this time. My one lifetime goal right now that's very big and I'm directly working towards and have been for a while is, I wrote it as earth to mouth eating. So like growing our food, it feels very, very important, especially with the children and seeing, yeah, being able to see the food a little bit more clearly and like food that fills us well and makes us feel good and full and energetic versus like this very industrialized food at the grocery store that just feels depleting, like going to get it and then even eating it. Like, yeah. So earth to mouth eating, that's one of my life goals. Another one is I wrote it down as school, and it has to do with I come from a teacher background, and my kids are getting to the age of going into school system. So this meeting with what I can see, like a need for a natural learning environment, natural learning space. So creating some sort of school right now with my kids and whoever wants to join, and we go from there, something like that, where there's a natural outdoor curiosity-led, completely like dynamic to the individual school. Yeah. One more of my goals is about coming into community or collective living, which right now we've taken the first step towards it, like a big step, because Jorge, Serena, and I are living together, and we're creating a community house in this way. Diego's also in a community house in another space. So this is one of my goals, is creating a community house, and even bigger, like a bigger collective, perhaps with multiple houses, where there's working together, living together, growing together, like a more holistic way of living. Make our houses. Yeah, those are like the 3 strongest ones that came up for me.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yes, thanks. It really resonated with me. So, I'll share 3 of mine, and I feel I'll speak towards the ones that resonate. Yeah, in this moment. Yeah. So one of them is so I've been getting involved in the field of nature education, and I'm truly growing into it, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And one of the things I would like to grow into is keep developing into this style pretty much of teaching and learning, which is both, it's called Coyote mentoring, and it's pretty much just that's one of my life goals, to truly understand what it means to be a mentor of children and adults, but also to be humble, to learn from nature and other people, because there's so much to learn. And once I'm opening to it, it's just like, wow, it's so much. And then to have a way to share what I'm learning is just amazing, because then I keep learning from sharing it. So that one's becoming a really big one for me. And yeah, to grow into different groups of people that do this work together. It's what's calling me as a life passion, and truly putting into practice. So that's one of my goals. Another one is, well, yeah, I mean, pretty much what I have is co-create a village. And in that meaning of a village, I mean, when I look at a vision of it, it's just truly understanding well the dynamics of pretty much a natural village, like a healthy village. Because once I've seen in action, I went to a program where they showed us how a traditional village looked like. And once I saw how the dynamics of the people, and how there's just like certain foundations for it, and then it's just so organic how everybody connects and everybody shares and everybody grows, and I just felt like, wow, okay, this is amazing. And what they taught us is that now bring this and apply it into the city, because we were doing it right in the forest. And this is a vision that's coming to me, is that, of course, at one point I want to be in a nature spot where I can live with community and have land and everything, but and be one with the land. But now that I'm living in the city, it feels like the village can happen here too, because we need it now. So that's a lifetime goal that I can start working on now, creating this village within the set frames that we have, and then allowing that to grow further into something beautiful. So that's that's the second one. And then the third one that I'll choose, let's see, yeah, well, yeah, this third one is oh, yeah, it's hard to choose. I don't know what to choose out of this one. Yeah, I'll go for this one. Yeah, I pretty much want to become a bridge between technology and nature. So I've been learning that nowadays, like, technology is growing so much, and knowing how to use a computer, like, from my point of view of being an artist and creating music, to reaching people and connecting, and even the video conference we're having, I see there's so much potential. So I truly am starting to have the vision of using technology to bring more awareness to all of these aspects of the natural world, or even of this knowledge that we're sharing. It's like, yeah, it's waiting to come forward, and now technology can really allow us just to boom, to let it skyrocket. So I find it'd be amazing to, yeah, use that and yeah. But now that I'm speaking towards it, it's like, I don't know if that's a solid life goal, or is it kind of a vision that's coming to fruition right now, or this is just maybe the beginning of it. But yeah, using the full potential of technology and not being afraid of it. On the contrary, using it to bring awareness to the things that matters to us, and share it with people that we care for.
Awesome.
So, sorry, no.
I guess the first goal has always been the same goal since I was a kid, and I was drawing. I kind of want to just draw this out of the picture form and just show it instead. But just been drawing a map of a village since I was a little kid with all the little areas in it. And on the edge of the woods and little creeks and like the red tent and the gardens and like the music place and the dance place and the art therapy place. And it's all just there. And it's always just been there. The medicine gardens and the herbs growing in the spiral garden. Yeah. So, and within that is also this living, working nature school. And right now I'm working as a coyote mentor and doing, having a nature school, or working as a contractor. And so also wanting to help others start nature schools. There needs to be a lot of these places. There's a lot of kids out there. So, yeah, and then going through a humongous life change at the moment. Now I'm looking at how my goals might change a little bit. I'm going to be a mother for the first time and have a child this year, which is something that I'm just starting to still settle in. And so knowing goals. Okay, getting back to goals. Develop more of my gifts and work in medicine and healing work, and other forms of sharing my gifts. I'm trying to decide where I want to go next with this. Okay, and to have a healthy, happy, honest partnership. No, a strong body, a very strong, resilient body that's able to climb mountains and have a lot of energy to do all the things that have to be done. Yeah, that's good. And write children's books. I gotta have a lot of time to do things. Thank you.
I'll go next. My 7 goals. I'll speak to that one that we all the community, and like what part do I see in the creation of that community is maybe like creating a design of these different parts, like designing like almost like seeing like the school. I'm seeing the school. I'm seeing the place we take care of like older people and how these are all connected. I see the best hospital, like how it's like also part of this community. So seeing this part of this community and coming to co-creating that village, it's like a dream of this lifetime. With that, it comes also like growing our own food inside. I feel like it's part of it, growing your own food and either providing through hunting or fishing, and also like growing food from the earth. I want the second one. I want to develop the program for teaching music as a way to connect and communicate with nature. And that is a way to communicate with yourself, a way to communicate with others, a way to communicate with anything in life. Yeah. This is a very, very fun program, fundamental program with 5 different elements that were passed on to me, and I would love to like start like bringing that out a little bit more. And the third one is to make a movie. Yeah, I want to make a movie. And like seeing the whole process of creating a movie, like creating the script, the dialogue, and coming up with creating a movie. I think I'm just gonna keep it short like that. I don't want to go too much into it. I want to see what else.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, can you see that?
Yes.
So this is a time cone, and
Time.
so you got this past, present, and future,
Oh.
and your future here are your 7 goals. That's your end point in the time cone. So we're beginning to program this time cone, and this present moment is your present moment sort of conceptual 4th eye. Maybe it's a 5th eye, but it's using now as your reference point for distinguishing between the past and the future. And if you're looking at the future, if you're talking about the future, you're talking about the design that you're moving into, that you've already mapped out, that you've designed. And if you're talking about the past, you're talking about your lessons, but you got to watch your stories. Because a lot of people get caught in the stories looking into the past, and they just perpetuate this endless story, and they don't really have a future design. They're always in the past cone. They're always back here. So if you're always in storyland, here, I like that, storyland.
Yeah, it resonated for me too.
So you should watch with yourself in your group, because there's kind of a communication that I see a big distinction between communicating that is not going to go anywhere versus communication that builds. And I think you can feel it, you can sense it. You're probably like, as soon as someone's talking in a way that, I mean, it doesn't matter if you talk or not. Like whatever however, wherever, it's like a story, or like the interest is so low in both people that it's not worthy of your time and attention, but we politely keep the conversation because we haven't really looked at how these conversations are like anchors, or they're blocks, or they're the hidden social mechanisms that stop our true spiritual nature from blossoming. And if you get caught in that, and if you can't recognize it, it's a huge trap. And so as a team, part of the accountability is being as present as you can with one another, and talking in a way that has actual meaning, that you are meaning your words. You know you are going to build this, and each of you is listening in a different way, because you're listening with a deeper kind of wisdom about, you know, okay, we're on the same team together. We are charting this course together. We just found out some of the goals, and it sounds like at least one of them you're all connected on. And so you know that you can build a trust with one another, because you're aiming at that end point quite a far time away. And trust really comes from knowing you're going in the same direction with somebody. If someone can get up and leave the bus at any time and go off and you never see them again, you're not going to have much trust. But if you know that you are going the same direction, you want something together, then you know you have to have integrity. Then you know you have to have friendliness. All these things. Who would want to go there together if you're not enjoying yourselves, or you're not having fun, or you keep letting each other down? You know, humans are very different when they're around people who they know they can trust. And that's the biggest element, I think, in our wounding and in our ability to connect with others, is like, how open, how much do we trust? How much do we look at the other and go, that person's going to be in my life forever, you know, as a friend, as someone I want to go through my life with. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like marriage or whatever, but community to me is like a whole community of people who go, we're going together, and we want to be together. And we're aiming at creating this ideal paradise in whatever manner, because it's, you know, the big cities are done, we're done. You know, we want to go back to our natural way of living. And that sounds like what you guys are wanting to do. So what we have here then is the beginning of a mental conceptual structure that you share that then becomes a reference point for really manifesting things a lot easier. Because if you remove the doubt and you really agree in your minds upon the methodology and where you're going, you're going to watch. Like, we're magical beings that our magicalness has been designed away because we've lost belief, we've lost trust, all the magical elements that we need to create a community together. And so that's what I see. Planetary Guardians are different. Planetary Guardians are actually working with an operating system that's tuned to the galactic cycles, that's tuned to how human beings actually should be. And so this to me is the beginning of you taking that first step. And even that first step is very powerful, right? It's going, okay, Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. Know where you're going. Whatever I'm going to now give you or share with you, these are pieces of the puzzle, tools to help you attain these goals. And if you believe that's true, if you believe that's possible, and then we start bringing the timeline back to get it closer and closer, you're going to start seeing that the more organized you get in your mind and the more you use sacred geometry to structure it, it's like things will flow because you've already told the person what you want. And one of the biggest problems people have is they either don't know what they want, or they change their mind on what they want, or they don't believe that they can get what they want. So each of you has to truly believe deeply that you can get what you want together. Or if you have conflict, have some methodology to deal with it. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you another exercise. And I want you to make a map. Your first step is this.
Just a second. See what Let's see if he's going to give us more instructions.
Yeah, in the top right quadrant, write personal space. And then underneath that, write one-on-one space.
One.
And then on the top left, you got a dolphin in there? Yeah, the top left quadrant is group space. Sounds like C3PO. And then beneath that is community space. And then in the middle is sacred space.
Okay.
So each of these are very different communication spaces. The personal space is when you're by yourself, just you alone. One-on-one is just when you're with one of you. The group space is like this when you're all together. And the community space is when you're out in the larger public or with a lot more people around. Now, the community space in the noosphere, in our thinking mind, has sort of disappeared. The common has been taken out of the city. And all of the group space basically took over. And so by putting the sacred space in the middle and letting anyone or any sort of denomination or any sort of belief system can work with, usually with sacred space, but you're bringing sacred space back into the mindsets of people, that it's always there and needs to be honored. You know, if you don't want to, fine, but for the people that do, you know, to me, that's the most important space, really, if you want to build a community. And this is your takeaway. Just 1 second here, because we may run out of time on this thing. I'm not sure. We're about 37 minutes. But your goal for the next week is I want 5 one-year goals. Do a 1-year goal in each of those spaces.
Right.
And you want to start to look at, okay, related to your lifetime goals, what can you get done in the next year in each of these spaces that is going to take you to the next step on accomplishing your lifetime goals.
Okay.
So that's the takeaway. Just if all of a sudden it turns off, we're fine, because this is what I wanted to get done for sure. And I saw a hand come up, and you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, when I see this diagram and I see the sacred space in the center, are you speaking towards that the sacred space is present in all of these spaces? In the group space, personal space,
Well,
one-to-one
it's
space?
actually its own space. That space can be in all those spaces. Each of
Oh,
those spaces is in each of those spaces. It does a really cool fractal, because if you
oh,
look at the community space and the personal space, or the one-on-one space and the group space, it's like when a couple comes into a group space, right? They're in a one-on-one space and they're in a group space. The next level of connection between these spaces is fascinating to look at true boundaries, because we talk about boundaries a lot. And this is the central reference point between me and you, me and all of us. And that boundary, that map you just wrote, is like the simplest thing that I've seen, of looking at, there's just me and you, there's just us, and then there's just all of us, and then there's, my connection to the sacred, and the sacred existing outside of my existence. But it, there's a different you. There's a different you in each of these spaces, and that's a strange thing. Me in a group space is different from me with just one person. I feel very comfortable with just one person, and I don't feel so bad with this little internet thing with a group. But if we were in a room together, it's different. If we're in a context of a workshop and you guys want to learn, wow, that's like one of my top aims. So I'm very different than if I'm in a group sitting around a living room having a social conversation. I don't like that as much anymore. I want this. If I'm spending my time with people, I want it to have high purpose, high value, and utilize what I'm good at. Like, I'm not a kid anymore. I know what I have. I know what I want. I know what I can give. And you guys are very, I honor you for seeing it and asking for guidance in it.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Did he say I know, or oh no?
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I thought you were about love too.
Really? Okay, you wanted to say something?
I have a little bit of question in regards of the cone that you presented, and in identifying when we get into the storyline, like how can we really identify that, like really see that we're there?
The story, well, within the time cone is a spiral. So you've got a spiral coming in and you got a spiral coming out, and that's the reversal of the direction of the energy, which is called, I would call the big ascension shift, or like, this is shifting your mind into a higher order of sort of geometrical configuration of the universe. So the pathway is now going forward in a spiral, and along this pathway are all of the events that are going to come up in front of you. And it could be just, here's an event, and then you turn it off, and now you guys are speaking, and then and that's another event, and then you go off to work, and you have to work. Like, we have these sequences of cycles of events where actions and conversations take place. It's the simplest way to look at human interaction. Cycles of events where actions and conversations take place. And next week, I'll give you 4 maps that brings that into like the next level down of detail. Like, we're going very long, we're going very sort of macro. You're filling in your next year, and then I'm going to give you some tools. I guess I should probably send them to you so you have them printed. Yeah, I'll send you some tools, 4 maps, and each one of them is a conversation map, an action map, an event map, and a cycle map. So each one of you is going to look at your gifts and what you want to do and see where each of you wants to fit together with this system. It's pretty exciting, I know. Holy cow. Do you want to say anything in closing, each of you?
Yeah, I feel a big feeling in my heart to express gratitude. Again, to like bring discipline and to bring discipline to the creation of something. Yeah, inside of it, it can be harder to see. So I feel very grateful for your work and the tools that you are giving us and your support in this. And it felt very special to hear everybody's life goals, like an intimate thing. And so I feel a lot of gratitude in my heart right now. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're closing up right now, or sorry?
Yeah. Each of you gets a minute or so to close her up.
Okay. Well, yeah, for myself, I mean, yeah, it was great to gain the insights of perspective of where our team is at, and then the work you're offering is too. I really appreciate how it's given that structure, because right when you mentioned this tunnel, and then you were expressing towards the vision, towards the future, and that ability to see a solid structure and to have it, how you said, designed, to already have the design and to be able to walk into it. I feel this is something that I've never been taught so clearly before. I know now it makes sense, like, oh, well, of course, when we plan things, we're designing what's going to happen, but I never thought that you could really like have a solid structure in the mind and then pass it to other friends and see like, oh yeah, we all know where we're going. It's clear, so then we're not lost. And I mean, I always feel that when we don't have that we're not as empowered as individuals. So I'm truly appreciating seeing that, and also being aware that there's a past where we get mostly caught up with the stories, which doesn't allow us to grow into that higher potential because we're so carried on with all of these stories. So it's good to see that we can break that loop with this. How do you call this funnel again? Or
It's a time cone.
Time cone, yeah, with this time cone. So it's a great insight for me, time cone. I love it. And I will work with this and into the week I have coming up. It's a good tool. Thank you.
I look forward to learning how to organize time and organizing time so that we make the most of time and having like structure in it and accomplishing things instead of just dreaming things and taking action. And, yeah, just a way to organize all this. And I look forward to meeting you in person. And computers make me feel a little bit like I'm way back here. All right.
I wanna express gratitude. Of course, like so grateful that this is happening. Really, like it feels like almost like fantastical that it's happening. I'm very grateful that you're like matching up like these questions that we have and like almost like pulling us together as a group. When before it was like just us in the middle of the ocean. Everybody has their own tools, but now like what I feel like this is doing is like giving us a set of tools that we can share, that we can like that we all have in common, that we can like really be an anchor. And I'm really grateful for you that you're doing all of this. Just because you love it, you love it too. You love your program. Thank you.
It's a fascinating experience, and it's beautiful to share with you, and beautiful to see that it's having some good effect so far. And I look forward to seeing you next week and to hear your 5 goals and to share the next set of tools with you. Because each week we're making progress with another map and more than one map. And at some point, again, all this is for you to share with others. If it works for you, you can share with others, and all help everyone, attain their dreams. So much love to you all. I'm going to take off.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Guardians.